All right, everybody, hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Inven Global Podcast. My name is Nick Durazio, Director of Corporate Strategy at Inven Global, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Eric Gindele. Hey, Eric.
Yep.
And we have a very, very special guest. She has been a friend of not only past Inven Global events, but every time you see her, she's doing something fantastic that literally makes esports a better place. So I am very, very happy to have on the call Miss Harvey. What's up, Miss Harvey? How you doing?
Hello, I'm great. Happy to be here.
Yes, we're also very, very happy to be here with you. I feel as if all of our guests come from such a different background of esports, right? Like that's one of the fun things. We were kind of talking off air before that this started as kind of like an esports industry podcast where we just talk to our friends who work in the biz, but it's very hard to pin down what it is exactly you do if you had to have one job, because you've just done so much, right? I feel as if your esports career, like there's just, you've been a part of so much. So for those who don't know, who is Stephanie Harvey? What is Miss Harvey? What are you doing? What are the things that you're working on right now? How can people get to know you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I used to be a professional gamer. I played on numerous teams, and then the one that's still there is obviously Counter Logic Gaming Red, CLG Red. So I was a pro player for like 16, 17 years in Counter-Strike. So it's been a really long journey, and on the side I did a lot. I worked 7 years at Ubisoft as a game designer. I'm now full-time doing esports stuff, but not gaming. I work at CLG as their director of esports franchise outreach and development. I also have my own little career on the side, everything Miss Harvey
own everything.
From streaming, conferences, columns on websites like Deserto, or I have my own web series on the French-Canadian ESPN that's called RDS. So, I do a lot of documentaries. I collaborate a lot. I'm on the verge of starting my clothing line, so I'm super excited for that.
No way, really?
Yeah, it's so awesome.
That is that is so cool. First of all, clothing
learning
line,
a lot. Let's just say.
First of all, I have to talk to you about this clothing line. I'm not sure if you know, but we at Inven Global has just recently launched our entire new content portal that's dedicated to esports fashion, to esports aesthetic.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
To the vibe,
yeah.
Yes, and it's been going very well.
I follow Geeky Glamorous.
Yes.
So
Yes, Mandy
cool.
is one of our content creators. She writes news for it. Man, she knows so much about what's hot and what's going on. I cannot wait to cover your stuff when it comes out. Seriously.
Well, I try to be excited, but at the same time, it's long, it's slow, and I have no idea if people are gonna like it or not. I also don't know if I should push for things to be perfect or if I should go along with So it's also very interesting because I've never done this before. So I'm always saying, I would like this trend to be changed and whatnot. But I don't know if I'm getting annoying or if any designer is doing that way.
Well, the details matter. I've heard that because
I know.
I have learned a lot too lately because we had to make this whole site about fashion. I've learned that the details matter. So if you're sweating those details, something speaks to me that you're already doing just fine on it.
I'm always and then they always go, well, if you up that quality of the product, you'll get less profit. And I'm like, I don't care for profit.
Yes, okay. Yes.
I don't even care for the profit. I just want to make a product that I would wear and I would buy.
Of course. Don't skimp. See, okay. This is why this is often an esports industry podcast, right? Because we bring on guests who are doing fantastic things, and then we ultimately end up what they're doing. And something that me and Eric have to work with all the time is it seems like the esports industry is competing over scraps. Like we're all competing over this one very niche type of consumer. And I've heard the thing that you just said so often, if we focus on quality, we'll get less money. I just think, man, that is such bad advice. In my opinion, when it comes to the current esports industry landscape, people want quality, especially when it comes to apparel. Oh my gosh, you want your, esports merch to be fly. So, man, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see it.
We'll see. Like I say, It's the very beginning of this whole process. Well, it's not the beginning anymore, but it's my first launch, and the goal would be to do it more often than once a year, right? So we'll see.
I'm curious, and I swear this will be the last question, and then Eric, we can get to the show notes. And I promise, if this whole show Eric produces, it's all planned, and then I come in and I get curious. But it's just so curious. I love that you're creating this own apparel line. You said that it's your first time doing it.
Yeah.
And it strikes me as like you're someone who has had a lot of first times. Like even when you just did your intro, there's so many things you've done. I'm struggling to just start one hobby. Like, where does that come from? How do you have the energy and the vigor to start these? Because you've already experienced esports success, many would say. Many would say you've made it, you're done. A lot of people would be happy with having 1/8 of the type of projects you do, and yet here you are doing more. So where does that come from? And do you see it stopping soon, or is this just ambition you have?
Probably not. I get very not bored, but I get very let's say bored. I get very bored of mastering something. And it's the reason why I'm not a streamer full time. Like I was a pretty big streamer in 2013-14, top women on Twitch, and I just stopped. Not because it wasn't giving me money, it was very lucrative. I just didn't really care for it because I felt that I wasn't learning when I was streaming. And so it's like the clothing line, I've wanted to do it for years, but I never found the right partners. I never found the right name for the brand, and I think that's important.
It is actually,
and there's a lot of things that I just wasn't nailing. So I take my time. I don't like to rush things, and my agent always says it's a marathon. It is not a race. So it's not 100 meters. So in esports, you have this tendency of being extremely excited when there's an announcement, and everyone's like, oh no, like they announced this, we wanted to do this, our thing doesn't work anymore. And that's actually never the case. And then you have people announcing things 3 months after they're just same, and then people still get excited because people are so like, the fear of missing out and the fear of not being the one is so big in esports. And and even for me, it happens all the time where I'm like, oh shit, this is what I wanted to do. She's launching her line. That like mine has been in the work for 2 years. Like what? And now yours my agent's like,
seems lesser, I totally get that. I think too.
And it's hard. It's so hard. So I would say that I like to have small, long, and small, medium, and long-term goals. So for me, Nick, for the last, I would say 3 years, it's been about building the team around me. So from my assistant, my social media manager, my agents, my artists, my video editors, my community managers.
It's pretty all these people actually.
Now are like Miss Harvey. So as soon as I get like, for example, I'm working with Intel and Samsung at the moment. Like they call and they're like, hey, we need to talk to you. Like there's something we need to pitch. And you have like 24 hours to turn around and say if you can do it.
You need a team for that,
My team is like, yeah, let's do it, So by myself, I couldn't do all of this. So I really need the support of, like, you see Tanner scroll in chat.
Yo.
My team, So
nice. So, by the way, shout outs to Team Miss Harvey. That's actually an email, which I think is just, man, talk about an alpha move. Like someone says, hey, can I get your email? Because I'm interested in this thing. Yeah, you can message team@missharvey.com. It's not to me, it's to my team. My whole team has to consider it. That's actually dope. That's a good thing to aspire to.
It's also good for visibility and to include them. But yeah, I have little tricks, like when people ask me for a bio and an image.
Oh, you probably have that on.
I have a short URL, like with my name, and it's just like I send it, and like it's little tricks like that you learn along the way. But I'm 34, okay? Don't worry. This is an esports boomer podcast. I'm 30 years old, so no way. Yes, I'm 30 years old. Oh wow! I thought you were like the fresh youngin, picking it.
You know what? You know what? Actually, I think the fact that people think I'm a fresh youngin in esports helps me more than it hurts. Because people, you know what? They're like, oh, look at this young dude. He has nothing. Let's help him out. Let's go on his podcast. You know what? This poor guy trying to produce another event. Nah, come on. Let's throw him a bone. So thank you for that. Eric is actually the esports youngin here.
You're the youngin, Eric?
Yeah, I'm 25.
Okay, 25. Yeah.
I'm there,
I
guess.
9 years older than you.
See, I thought I was there too, but I don't know, man. Your 30s hit different, and I go, I'm new. What I always compare age to it's like, have you ever played Warcraft Classic, World of Warcraft?
Yes.
So, you know how in Battlegrounds there's those level caps. There's 20 to 29, and then there's 30. That's how age works. When you're 29, you're at the top heap of 20-year-olds. You know what I mean? And I used to be at the top heap. When I was 29, I was killing it in esports. But the moment I hit 30, I'm at a different bracket now. So now I got to compete with the 39-year-olds, and they're top tier, you know? So
I had never heard this reference, and I really like it. I think my two favorite years in esports were 23 and 27.
Oh, man. What great years. I love
those
23.
Are great.
Yeah.
23 was amazing because you're still young.
Yeah.
And you didn't feel old. And in 27s, it was exactly that way, but at the end of the
Still loved it. I still and listen, don't get me wrong. I love esports. I do. But you know that whole joke, the more you work in games, the less you actually play? Well, that's true for esports, you know. Once upon a time I used to compete too. I think first of all, the most fantastic part of your story, Stephanie, is that you've been competing for so long. I mean, Counter-Strike is no joke. That's a hard game. You need some sustainability and longevity to compete in that game, and it's just so impressive that you did for so long. Me, I guess I had this burnout period of Smash Melee when I was a teenager. There was a point that was my main source of income, and then it just Melee is nothing of what it is now, but that was my game. But I know what it's like to compete that hard. It must be tough. Anyways, Eric.
Are you friends with our CLG boys, the Melee boys?
No, but I would love to be.
Pew Fat crew.
Here is the one thing that, I wanted to mention it when you said that you often get bored when you're not learning. Me and Eric have actually done some work among high schools and colleges. We talk to high school kids about esports. A lot of people want to learn about how to make an esports career. And the one thing I always say is that, if you care about winning, or if you really, there's a good sign if you are playing a competitive video game, and if you lose and you still want to play, that's good. You need to want to learn. You need to want to be challenged. And it strikes me as someone who's competed for that long, it makes sense to me why you get bored when you've already mastered something. Because in my opinion, the fun of esports and competition is I love it when I find someone who's better at me in Melee, and as long as they agree to just let me play. I know I'm going to lose 20 times, but as long as I can play you and learn, I'm happy. Do you feel like that when you play against someone who's just leagues better than you, or is that even something that you face often? Someone who's just way better than you?
Yeah, yes, that was pretty much always the case, because even someone that is not as good as you can find ways to beat you, and you have to adjust, and it's just it's like a momentum and an adjustment game, right? Pretty much everyone is kind of the same skill to a certain extent at the top, so you kind of have to work that teamwork and work your mistakes together and learn about stress and all these kind of things. But I think that's why they say that it's even the hardest at the top, because you kind of lose that challenge, that fire, kind of lose that push until you lose it, and then that's when it becomes this kind of I need to learn how to lose because I've been waiting for so long, or learning how to lose was probably one of the hardest things in my career, because I started really strong and I was winning a lot. So
that's a great podcast name, Learning How to Lose.
And it's one of the things I say the most I used to say to my teammates, but also to kids, learning how to lose is more important than winning, because kind of everyone is a loser unless you're first.
Dude, you heard it here, folks. Everyone's a loser.
Everyone is a loser.
This has been episode 30 of the Inven Global Podcast. We're gonna call it at that. That's how we want to end it. No, it is true though. You know, there's more losers in Fall Guys than not. By the way, shout outs to chat. Tanner PR, no way, I'm planning to peak at 44.4 exactly. Nice, I like that. That's min-maxing your age. He's min-max, right? That's so good. I'm a loser, Pog. Yeah, man, 44.4. That's the peak. That's when you get the sports car. That's the crisis, right? Now, you know what? That is going to be my new goal, Steph. When I have my midlife crisis, I want it to be like a glorious phoenix burning. You know, like I want it to be something that's amazing, and then it ends real quick.
I mean, it's gonna be easy. You still have the hair.
I hope so.
You just need to dye it red and just like become.
You know what?
Become Ronald.
You know what? I've been wanting to dye my hair, but y'all, like the ratio of me.
Sideshow bub?
Yeah, that's the thing. The ratio of me looking like a clown versus not looking like a clown is very thin. Like, this is a careful ratio that must be managed. I can't just be experimenting with colors. I can be like, oh, yeah, tell me I'm pink. No, you are now a clown. You have meetings to attend. You have deals to broker. You now look like a circus act. So I got to be careful.
Yeah, stay away from pastel colors and you should be fine.
I don't know.
Which color then? There's like nothing. No red, no green.
I've wanted blue. I've always wanted blue or like white. Black? I think it'd be white. It'd be cool if I had white, like.
White though.
Yeah, like an Einstein type thing. But I'll be honest, I've tried to dye my hair before and it's a mess. Like it's just I can't
Probably
do it
really
well.
Difficult.
What is the most experimental you've had your hair color? Have you ever dyed? I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen you with your hair pink. I think I've seen you with your hair red. Has there been, what's the craziest?
There's been purple. There's been like yellow, orange. Yellow is interesting.
Yellow, yeah.
Because we didn't want to make it look like it was a poorly done blonde. So it was very interesting.
It needs to be yellow. I am choosing the lemonade aesthetic. I like it.
Yeah. I think I'm never gonna go green. Just because I like to get them to fade. And fading green is probably like a little bit too Billie Eilish for me, and I don't know if I can pull that off.
It's very mermaid-esque. It's like nautical. Yeah. Every time I think green hair, I think of old school mermaids.
I had like the actual Ariel mermaid,
no way.
Like bright pink red. It was so pretty. It was probably one of my favorite, but it was also one of the hardest to get rid of.
Yes.
So I think I'm gonna go. I'm actually having it done in like 3 weeks. This is the COVID, guys. I just
the COVID. But I thought that was like a purposeful thing. Like, isn't that now cool to show your roots, like show your natural roots and have like?
Well, when you have colored hair, it's kind of failing.
I see.
Yeah, because I never wanted to become blonde. I always want to have like a color, but. It's the first time in I think 5 years that I let it go blonde fully and just like get them to rest. So I was kind of embracing it, but I took an appointment for in a month because getting the hair color that I get is actually pretty difficult to find someone that can do it.
That is true. I have
she's always booked like a month in advance, 2 months in advance.
Well, now from this conversation alone, we now know why Stephanie is starting her own brand of clothing, right? Clearly, this is someone with aesthetic chops. And speaking of aesthetic chops, let's go to our first ad roll, so to speak. But this ad roll is for my favorite thing in the world. So I mentioned earlier, Inven Global has been working on this fantastic site. It's invenglobal.com/culture. So one day we're going to see Stephanie's clothes on this site, but we cover everything related to esports fashion. We do cosplay, we do art, we do all sorts of stuff. So if you are interested in any way, shape, or form, check out invenglobal.com/culture. So, all right, nice little ad break there. Let's move on, finally, I suppose, to Eric. We have our first topic. Oh, no, I skipped the games. Oh,
yeah. We didn't even do that yet.
Okay, well, Eric, why don't you start? What games have you been playing lately? Let me know. Let me ask.
Yeah, I'm still rolling around with Smite. I got into that last week. It was just kind of this game that I'd never really touched before, and we had been playing Here's the Storm for so long, and it was just time to kind of move on. We were just getting absolutely annihilated and competitive. So, yeah, Smite is a breath of fresh air. We were talking about it last week, but it's kind of like Battle Right meets League of Legends, kind of. Super cool. I've just kind of been going through all the champions. There's like 100 of them now. Just kind of testing out who I like.
See, now that's the interesting thing about games like Smite. And, League of Legends has like the same ordeal, right? There are so many new heroes or champions, whatever you want to call them, that come out all the time. It makes the balance of these games so difficult. I personally have always loved the frequent patch notes, but I'm not really an FPS gamer. So, as our resident FPS gamer expert, I'm curious, do you prefer it when a game changes every 3 to 4 weeks like these giant MOBAs do with all these big patches? Or do you think an esport is better served when it's like, no, let's let the game breathe for a bit? Because there's different opinions on this.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So I do believe that you should update your game and should keep it balanced, and you should always push for new features and whatnot. But if it affects the core of the gameplay, like Fortnite, I think that's a little too much.
Yeah, Fortnite did go too far on a lot of that.
But like Valorant so far released new heroes. They're doing patches all the time, and a lot more than what CS does. And obviously the game is new, and they're trying things out, and I'm okay with it.
How many times do you get asked which do you like better, CS or Valorant? Is this a common question?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think everyone knows the answer. There's no way like a professional CS:GO player would say, or just CS player would say Valorant.
Yeah.
It's totally a different thing. Although everyone tries to compare them, I do feel that CS:GO is the ultimate game. And even though I prefer playing Valorant right now, I still think CS is a better game.
Yeah, I actually saw that Valorant just got nominated for Esports of the Year. The Esports Awards
really cool.
every year. They just put out the thing. Though there was some internal mumblings from the groups that, I'm a part of all of these esports journalist groups. They're the most like cynical chats in the world. But people are like, what? Valorant? Esport of the Year, what has it done, right? Like, what has it done? And there's always this. This happens every time. This happened with Overwatch. This happened with any time a new game comes out. I think people need to realize, and here's my brief rant, like, yes, there's the esports that are like recognition because they're legacy, because they're CSGO, because they're Melee. These are the games that have been around for 15 years or plus. They're not going anywhere. And yes, they always get our respect. But, like, I think there should also be some credence for new games, like new esports that make a splash. So, anyways, there's my rant.
I think that Valorant is probably more the game of the year than any other established esports I can think of at the moment. I don't think, like, for example, a League of Legends or Counter-Strike should win this year. So we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
I'm intrigued. I think esports game of the year should be about being solid, being hype, being disruptive. And right now it's probably Valorant. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I think too that's a pretty good metric. I'd probably add to that, like, just my opinion. I think of the year, there needs to be a very significant thing that happened that year. I'm talking like a huge upset or like a huge tournament that had an amazing narrative that really got the esports community talking and thinking of esports in reverent tones again, right? Like, I think that needs to be a thing. I think that's probably why most salty sailors don't like Valorant up there, because it's just too new, and that's a big deal for a lot of people. By the way, speaking of game. Yeah.
Good.
No,
please.
I
was just gonna say, like, think about it. How many orgs invested thousands and dozens of dollars into this game? How many, like you said, I think for me, no other game has had that hype in COVID. In COVID, like, it's kind of crazy to think. Yeah, the numbers maybe don't add up to be esports game of the year, but that's probably the only weakness. Like, everything else has been kind of spectacular.
Is Fall Guys not being considered esport at the?
Game of the year, it should be considered. If it can keep up, if Fall Guys can keep up this momentum, because we've seen the coronavirus flash in the pan like popularity of a game or show. That's a thing. Like, don't you remember when a Tiger King was like our religion? You know, it was just like the zeitgeist of the world. So yeah, that is a thing. I think Fall Guys is up there. By the way, shout outs to chat. League Esports has been a bit meh this year. Oh yeah, I can agree. A lot of people have been wanting for League of Legends. We got some Melee love. That's good to know. Good to know. I guess in terms of games I've been playing, so I have been playing a game called Faster Than Light. This is an old game, but it's like a really good one. If you're familiar, if anyone in chat or anyone listening is familiar with the game Into the Breach, I forgot the guys who made it. I'm so bad at this, but whoever made Into the Breach also made a game before that, Faster Than Light. And it's a strategy game. You like have a ship. Oh yeah, and it's just really, really good. Someone said in chat. Oh no, they're talking about Tiger King. That also was incredible. But yeah, I've been really loving Faster Than Light. If anyone has any Faster Than Light guides or challenges or resources, the one thing I will say, there's not nearly enough content about the game, like strategy content. It's such a hard game. I literally can't even beat it, and I've been trying aggressively, and I just can't even beat it on a normal.
Yeah.
So
have you gotten to the final boss yet?
No, I have not. This is and like, by the way, this is like a roguelike game. So you know, it's this concept of you play and then you never stop, and it's one of those infinite replay value games. Some more popular roguelikes, Slay the Spire, that one's really big. There's those big streamer games. Stephanie,
awesome.
do you play any of these like single player type games? Because we've had esports pros on, and sometimes they just don't touch anything if it's not multiplayer. Are you one of those gamers?
No, actually, when I was a game designer, I played like every single game out there, but it was also a different landscape. There wasn't like as many games as there is now. But yeah, I played everything. I kind of lost that pat when streaming became big because I couldn't afford to do anything else. But I'm kind of doing it again. I do stream for my community, and the goal is not really to go big. The goal is to have fun. So I play random games all the time.
That's always fun.
That I want to play. So I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, although it was kind of the hype. But I do play a lot of mobile gaming, which is I can play like 2 hours a day easily of mobile gaming.
Yes.
So from games like AFK Arena, Empires and Puzzles, Toon Blast. I know I'm not really proud of that one. So
do you play Brawl Stars?
Oh, do you play Brawl Stars?
Is it good?
Bro, okay.
It's so good.
This is a Brawl Stars friendly podcast. Not only because me and Eric both played and it's great, but the thing is, its esports scene is thriving. Like seriously, if you look up the Brawl Star YouTube, just look up the World Championships. It has more viewers than like any major PC esport ever. It's insane.
Open my phone. I was playing a game right before this. Okay, let's talk about Brawl Stars. I actually was looking to get a new one just to add to my role. But I'm an insomnia. I go through all of them.
You should definitely throw that on.
We're actually, speaking of new games, have you heard of a game called Catalyst Black?
No, is it on the phone as well?
So this is in its like early alpha. But the thing is, it's by the team that made Vainglory. So this is their.
It's not here on Android.
Oh no! What? Is there no Brawl Stars?
No, there's Brawl Stars on.
Catalyst.
Oh yes, Catalyst Black.
No.
It's super secret. If you want a code, I can give it to you. It's so early. I can actually say it's like a bad game. It's so bad because it's so new. Like it's so early access. However, it is the spiritual successor to Vainglory. It's made by the same people that made Vainglory.
And well, let me know when it gets good, and then send me the code.
Because Vainglory esports is massive. This is another one of those games where maybe most Western audiences aren't familiar with it, but in Asia, especially China, Vainglory, like you go to any Chinese cafe, any Chinese land, they're playing Vainglory on their phones ad nauseum. So this is a new game coming out. Yeah, I will let you know when it gets good. Yeah. So that's what I've been playing.
And I just got a new phone. The big Samsung Note 20 Ultra.
Is it beautiful? Is it just amazing? Do you love it?
It's the biggest phone I've ever had. It is so beautiful.
That's you know what? I hope you don't mind me saying is that big as your face? That's as big as your face. That is a big phone. Oh my god. That is actually
But it has
massive.
a pen, and it's like almost like a desire to want to be like a tablet.
I could see
it's
that.
Great. It's
you
the
know,
best one I've ever done.
I think the pen is a sorely needed thing for
I like it a lot.
for phone usage because
sometimes it's fun to draw.
Yeah.
On Instagram or I don't know. Like, all the time.
Well, because you know what, I'm often signing stuff with my phone, like on my finger, and there's a little thing in the back of my head that's like, these signatures are awful. Like, they're not my signature. It's just a scribble. Like, legally, if one day is like, is this your signature, Nick? I'll be like, no, I don't think it is. It's just right? There's my small rant. I wish I had a pen on my phone. So I guess, wow, Stephanie, what games have you been playing? I guess we already talked about it, right? You've been playing
a couple
these mobile games.
Phone games, but then on the PC. Oh, actually, I started kind of playing League again, which is kind of crazy to say because I don't really play League.
Yeah.
So like I know 2 characters and that's about it. So it's kind of my first. Like I'm having fun.
Wait, this is your is this one of your first MOBAs?
I played Dota All-Star in 2003.
Okay.
But that was crazy long ago.
If you want a safe space, I have never played League of Legends, but I used to play old school Dota so much. Like I feel as if I'm like a MOBA. Yeah, like I know what I'm doing. Like I have my MOBA sea legs, but I just don't play League. Bad at it. Yeah, I just don't play League.
I feel that it's like I never played. But yeah, it's been fun. I also played a lot of TFT recently. I don't know why I really like TFT. Just Valorant too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have fun playing without streaming, which is so hard, but I think I'm doing it.
Wow. So is that hard simply because you're kind of a workaholic? And
yes, because I'm like, well, I'm playing, I should be streaming. That could nail 2 things at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, when I stream, I don't relax at all. So I actually kind of want to relax when I play a game. So yeah.
You know,
and I think I play a lot of Marvel.
That's Eric's.
Relaxing.
Yes, he's so good at keeping gaming as a pure hobby, even though he works in the industry. Like Eric will straight up play a single player game for 6 hours, and it's just no distractions, no social media. I'm jealous of it.
I missed it.
I've kind of turned it into work though, because I've got the game log and the game lists, and there's 4 or 5 different lists that I just update constantly with stuff that I'm playing and keeping track of everything and rating everything.
Did I speak too soon? Do you actually? Are you also a workaholic? Every time you pick up a game? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I feel bad when I go back to games that I've already beaten because I'm I could be playing something new and putting it on the list and rating it and stuff like that.
It's okay if it's for achievements. I forgive you. I'm gonna have achievements.
That is true.
Yeah.
By the way, chat wants you to play more League stuff. So
yes, I get it. I'm gonna play tonight. Actually,
I don't make the rules, you know.
Nice. I'm really bad though. That's the thing. Chat is probably looking at me what the fuck?
I think that's
She's so awful.
But I think that's such a magical place for you to be in though. There's something special because you are a competitive gamer, so you know all about the mind games. You know, you have such a fundamental that the fact that you're new and there's so much to learn. I can imagine if you get past, maybe there may be slight frustration because, you can't do what your brain knows you should be doing because you're more strategic than you are. Because that happens to me all the time. I play fighting games. I love fighting games. That's my main esport. I play Street Fighter, Melee, any 2D fighter. I love when I can play a brand new fighter and I can join a community that's way better than me. If I have some Guilty Gear pros once, I was just playing with them, and they were so good. I know nothing about it, but I have the fundamentals. I could keep up. It was really fun for me to learn. So maybe you can, find that in League.
I just feel that it's very overwhelming, and I watch League a lot for CLG. I watch all the Academy and the LCS games, and for the last 5 years, and I still struggle. So I'm just
tough.
It's so freaking tough. It's just I don't know the matchups, and I think
what type of position
I would have
do you
to
like to
study,
play?
and I don't want to study matchups. So it's whatever.
What type of position do you like to play, or what's your
I've
MOBA best?
I have only played support because since I'm so bad, they just put me with someone, right? As a duo.
That's
actually
fair.
I played jungle a little bit. I kind of like it. I think that jungle is probably be my main if I was playing like hardcore, just because kind of
I
a
like
leadership
independent
role.
roles like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's kind of like you need to know what everything is going, and like push and see opportunities, and I think that would be my play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely awful. Also, I only played 3 characters, and I don't understand. As soon as there's a character that doesn't have their basic skins, I'm completely confused.
Well, you know,
like, who's that character?
You know, I'm actually glad you brought up the skins point, because not many people talk about it, but I think it's a huge barrier of entry in most games that people don't talk about. Because like, I'm new to League, but I'm not new to video games. So when the League characters have their default skins, I know who each of them is. I know what they are. I know the call outs. But the same thing happened with Dota. I've played Dota, the like original Dota and like Dota 2 for years, but I took like a 7-year break or whatever. I try to go back to Dota 2, and every hero has so many unique skins, and they're so wild. Like, they're not even close to looking like the base skin model anymore. I just don't know. So
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate how skins get so outlandish. There should be a choice or something. There should be an option.
Yeah,
for
I definitely
newbies.
think that like you just mentioned something like pretty big. There should be an option where you can uncheck skins.
Yeah.
Like if you want to learn and you're bad, and if you're under like this rank, you could have that option activated. I don't know.
You.
I know they want to promote their skins to make money, but at the same time, the learning curve is too high when you start playing. It's impossible to learn, to be frank. It's so hard.
It is. And I guess before we go over to our first beat, quick shout outs to Heroes of the Storm. That current problem exists because there's a hero who is like, okay, I won't get too nerdy into this, but there's a hero, a Tyrande, who's like a good Night Elf priestess. She's very popular in the lore, right? And then there's another hero, I think, called Maeve. Yeah, Maeve, right? But they're like polar opposites. But they just released a skin where they're essentially like swapped. So you can play as Tyrande, but she looks all evil and bad, and like, so it's like it's so confusing. When you look at this hero at first glance, she looks like a ranged assassin, not the support that you know her as. It's been so frustrating to me because I'm trying to play the game. Anyways, there's my rant. If anyone is listening, please.
All
help
I'm
us out.
listening, all I'm hearing is like, I can't believe people still play Heroes.
I know.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Here's the storm. The esport is dead, and you know what? Actually, you've been in this industry for so long. I would love to pose this question to you, because I pose this question to a lot of guests because I think it's very interesting. Right? Dead game. That's a phrase you hear. It's just a phrase you hear in esports often, right? I would say that if I were to just put on my thinking cap, it probably harkens back to an age in which the esports ecosystem was so small we could only exist 3 to 4 games, like big games, right? So yeah, if your game was dead, that meant something. It meant stop playing it. There's no reason to compete in it. The ladder's broken. They're not supporting it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Here's the Storm Esports did indeed die, but the thing is, the user, like the actual player base, has just been growing. It's still just been consistently growing.
I think like the whole thing is so confusing.
Yeah.
I think they positioned it in the market really poorly.
They did.
I probably would have picked up the game eventually. I think that I actually thought they would not release any more stuff.
Yeah.
Like the way they did that, I thought it was over. So I don't know how they could have done it better, but one thing for sure, I don't think they should have killed the esports.
Yeah, the marketing was so bad.
They should have figured out a way to kind of say, hey, we're taking a break, or we're switching to online only instead of having like
reducing. Just drastically reduce, like something like that. But that's actually a really good point. I do think that a lot of people like legitimately think that Heroes of the Storm has never put out a patch or a hero, but they have. So just another dunk on Blizzard. I know. I know.
It's definitely slowed down, but they're doing it. Their events. They just put May from Overwatch in like a couple weeks ago.
No way!
Yeah, things reminds me.
They're releasing new heroes.
They are. They're releasing new heroes, new events, and the thing is, the playership is slowly getting back to normal. By the way, the esports scene never died, so to speak, in Europe. As in, over in Europe, there's like still the competitive players, and there's still leagues, just the main league. But
the whole thing is very confusing. Then
it is, and I think that that confusion is something that. We saw the same thing, I think, with Apex Legends. or at least I did. There was a point I think in which Apex Legends, like everyone was like, it's the biggest game in the world. It's so hype. And then like, yes, that hype and all that Twitch hype went away. But I think there was a lot of people who even I've even heard people describe Apex Legends as like dead game lol. Not even close. Like Apex Legends even close to being like that game is so thriving. There's so many players.
Sadly, 2020 was supposed to be the year of Apex.
Right.
They talked about launching their in real life league, huge tour, and then COVID.
Chat thinks that Apex Legends has staying power too. I agree. Well, speaking of a game that has staying power, right? Call of Duty. So, we got some news going. Let's start the first one. Apparently, the Call of Duty League Championship winners will get a literal throne as a prize. So there's a Call of Duty League Championship happening this weekend. Obviously, we're all trying to make our esports events new, fun, and fresh. Well, this one, the team gets an actual throne. This throne is made of titanium and with a titanium veneer finish, and will feature details like the championship date, the names of the players, the stats from winning. The winning team will also take home a $1.5 million top prize. So first of all, I mean, talk about a stream piece of swag, right? You have an actual throne, but do you think it'll be comfortable? I don't want to sit in titanium chair.
I mean, if they're going to make the players ship it home, it's going to take $1.5 million to
yeah, I know, right?
Take care of that titanium, especially in COVID and stuff. But
I think it's cool. I think it's awful, but I think it's awful. I would never want to have a throne. Give me a trophy, give me a ring. Yeah. I thought the COD ring was so cool. I want trophies. I have my trophies there.
Yes. Trophy. Yes. Yeah.
I would not have a throne.
Yeah. It is a
throne.
Where are you gonna put it?
Let's be real. It's
cool for a month, and you're
comfortable.
Put it in the basement, and then you show it to your kids under dust. Oh yeah, I want a throne in 2020.
This reminds me. This reminds me of that Hearthstone event where they won a Lamborghini or something. Don't you remember that? Or there was a Porsche or some Ferrari. There was card games often have very strange gimmicks. I've seen various card game tournaments that take place on resorts and beaches. They have a theme, but the car was definitely one of them. Personally, I think it's a good little gimmick. I don't think I would really love it if one of the teams that won had a big streamer on it, and that became a joke. Sit on the throne. Sit on the throne. Where's your throne? And then
is it gonna be one throne or five? Are they gonna share it?
Exactly.
Is it gonna be the Stanley Cup where for each month is a different player?
Dude, that's funny. Yeah. Well, throne. Eric, your team throne?
I guess. Sure.
I guess I'll take a throne in my kitchen.
I wouldn't say no to a throne. That's for sure.
Well, Call of Duty League, it's going well. Apparently back in July, they had a huge event in terms of viewership. It was very successful. They had about 115,000 people watching it live for its peak. So, hey, I'm good for Call of Duty. Steph, how much have you sunk your teeth into Call of Duty as a franchise in terms of your own skill as a player?
So I played a lot of COD on console because when I was working at Ubisoft, I was working on the Far Cry series. So it kind of, it's not a direct competitor, but we definitely were always playing shooters on consoles. And when Call of Duty made the switch to esports and not just console based, I really was into it. I followed the community a lot, watched the games and whatnot. It was really into the community, but ever since they went franchising and all that jazz, I kind of completely lost.
And I think that was
I don't understand much anymore.
I think that was the case with a lot of people up until this last version that they put out last November. It seems like a lot of people are super happy with it, how it turned out, and the direction that they're going with it. I mean, they basically just said that they were going back to their roots, even just by calling it Call of Duty Modern Warfare again,
Yeah, but
but
franchising, I can get behind that point. I think that we've seen so many different approaches towards fostering competitive gaming communities and fostering consumers. And the franchise model I think works in some ways, but you definitely lose something. I personally can't get behind an esport that is like requires so much daily and like weekly grinding of watching, right? That's really hard for me as a consumer. I'm much and honestly, I think
What do you mean? You don't like Overwatch week 34?
Oh God. As someone who covered the entire first season religiously as an esports journalist who had to write about every game and everything, I can say vehemently no, I do not like week 34 of the Overwatch League. I think it kills the spice. I often talk about fighting games as they're like my favorite esports, but I think the reason it stuck with me is because fighting games is perfect for like the old competitors who still love it and know that every November on the 13th there's a huge major, and it's the major that means everything, right? It's the major where if you win, it's huge. So you can just watch that, even if I haven't been paying attention to anyone's streams. You can watch that and get a real good sense of who's the best in the world. And I think that allows me to still be active fans of these games. And yeah, I could see how a franchise model caused you to just kind of check out.
Well, that, and I think it's at the same time that it happened to switch to YouTube. It was like too much.
Yeah.
I think if they kept the franchising and then stayed on Twitch, and then like 2 years after they moved to YouTube, maybe I just forget. Like, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I never catch anyone live. Yeah. I don't really know. Like, I actually enjoy YouTube streams. Like, when I watch League, Twitch is gonna tell me that League is live, and I'll go watch it on YouTube because I think it's better. But I will never catch anyone. Like, my first reflex is to open.
So that's a
Twitch.
fascinating. I think that's a fascinating insight on your consumer habits, because around the esports industry side of thing, like, Twitch is still king and or queen, whatever monarch you'd like to choose. Twitch is huge, but I've heard more and more people start saying like, no, like, but like YouTube, you can't sleep on YouTube live streams. You can't sleep on those views, and you can't sleep on the platform. Personally, I find myself like there's two versions of Nick. There's the ambitious, I'm actually going to watch this 8-hour stream. Like, oh yeah, I love esports and I love the game, and I'm, there's that fandom. But like, when's the last time you watched an 8-hour stream? Like, when's the last time you've watched a stream to that completion? Whereas most of the time I watch YouTube videos. I easily watch a 20-minute match on YouTube. And the fact that the live streams are so quickly and easily converted to YouTube videos that are then have playlists, and I have definitely experienced myself finding a streamer on Twitch, and this actually happened with Faster Than Light, this game that I've been playing. I found a great streamer on Twitch. I love their content. There's actually a funny thing going on. They're both bald men with glasses, but they look the same, and they both stream the game, but they know it, so they joke about it, and their stream jokes about it. Whenever they host each other, they joke that no one can tell the streams have changed, because they literally look identical. It's so funny. Shout out to Faster Than Light. If anyone knows, you will know the two streamers I'm talking about. But I watched the guy's content on Twitch, and then I realized YouTube just curates it so much better. Like, YouTube, all of his content is found on YouTube. So I think that's a really nuanced point. More people are going to come to the realization, I think, that YouTube is a place for esports streaming and stuff.
It's also sometimes during the LCS, I don't know if it happens to you guys if you watch LCS at all, but sometimes Twitch will buffer, and it's really difficult. And YouTube doesn't. It's always stable. You can rewind on YouTube instantly, and also the app on the phone. Every time you change format on Twitch, let's say, because I do a lot of multitasking on my phone. I love the entrance for that, so I like go like full screen, minus screen, do something else at the same time. And every time you do that with Twitch, the ad starts again.
Yes,
which is
like, I hate that.
What? But if you do it on YouTube, it doesn't, and then it's like the browser is better. So I just go on the YouTube app. Yeah. And it's just like I really want to like Twitch more, but to be honest, for years and years, YouTube I have had these tiny little comfort features that I prefer. So
I was watching the Gamescom stream this morning. I started on Twitch, and then I was like, oh, I gotta pause for a bit, and then I was like, oh, but if I pause on Twitch and I hit resume, it's just gonna start where like the stream was, and then so I just went to YouTube, and I was like, I can click around. I can skip past stuff if I'm not like super into it, and I'm behind a bit.
Think about it, whenever a like Nintendo Direct happens, I prefer to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, like, what you mentioned about like pausing and resuming where you were instead of going live is huge. Yeah, I actually the other day I thought it was on Twitch too, and then my boyfriend sitting next to me was like, we can't do it. It doesn't work. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, what? If I pause and press play, I can just sync with you. He's like, no, it's Twitch. You can't do that. You'd have to do it on YouTube. And I'm like, oh my god, I forgot. Twitch just I see these little things should be on Twitch too.
It's Amazon's fault, man. Okay, this is what Amazon does. Amazon finds something, and they're so big and they're so massive. The corporate strategy is probably like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just don't change too much. Meanwhile, let's devote all of our resources to try to make more money, to push more Prime. And like, I guess that makes sense. But I do think it's, YouTube is the not small, but they're the agile ones now. They're the ones who they need to earn a live stream viewers by having a better product. Twitch doesn't need to do that anymore. Like, Twitch just earns live stream viewers by being bigger, by marketing more. So I think that's an interesting horizon. I'm going to make one prediction. I'm going to say, expect a premier esports event to only happen on YouTube and to blow a Twitch streaming metric out of the water within the next year. Like, I'm talking really, really cement it. I think that's probably going to happen within the next year. Maybe it's going to be something like Rocket League. Like, maybe they're going to compare and see that, hey, a Rocket League event on a YouTube got more views than Twitch. There's my prediction. Completely baseless, but this is what we do on this podcast, right, Eric?
What about Facebook gaming?
Okay,
predictions for Facebook gaming?
Well, the thing is, Facebook gaming will succeed whether I like it or not. That's the scale and scope that Facebook operates on. They're not worried about quality. Like, they're just not. Quality isn't the name of the game. I often talk about the burgeoning esports scenes in India, in Brazil. Middle East esports are a thing. There are so many esports happening all over the world, and Facebook gaming and Facebook is such massive platforms for these developing internet and gaming countries that I think Facebook gaming is going to be a massive, huge success. Anyways, that being said, I want to talk more about Gamescom, Eric, because I know that you mentioned it. That's a big event, right? I used to love going to Gamescom every year. Rip esports, rip coronavirus, rip being able to travel. Do you miss the travel?
No.
No? Not at all?
I was traveling like every week for an event and sometimes twice a week. I was never home. I was actually burning my body out. COVID is burning my mind out, but I don't miss it at all. I don't think I'm ever going back to that much traveling. I'm going to keep it to like once or twice a month. It was really too much. So no, I don't miss not going to Gamescom. I don't miss any of that.
Mm-hmm. I will say that for workaholics, I get that, because I would
have never stopped.
Yes.
Literally, COVID is the only thing that was able to stop me. I would have kept going and until I kind of crashed. So
you know what? Thanks 1HNSM. You got a lot of weird positivity in the chat. It's definitely weird positivity, but it's positivity, so I'm all for it. Thanks a lot. Anyways, I do think that workaholics, they're a little bit... A work-life balance has been forced upon you, right? It has been forced upon me in many ways, too. I am forced to find the separation between my work and my life, because now my work is in my bedroom. By the way, shout outs to my pink bed, shout outs to where I am, but this is my home, this is my bedroom. And I think I used to travel a lot too. I don't think I traveled as much as you though, so I do miss it. But I think I understand if I was as busy as you, Steph, sometimes you need a break. So Eric, Gamescom. You know me. You know the games I like. I like competitive games, Give me strategy games. If it's Dark Souls-esque, I'll play it. If it's an RTS, I'll play it. Was there anything at Gamescom that an esports salty sailor like myself would like?
Not really. There was this there's like this FPS like turn-based game that like works in like a time loop that looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's gonna like work as like an esport or anything, but yeah, if you want to check that out, that was cool. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting much from this this stream, but it really seems like they're trying to take up the E3 mantle, kind of, because I don't remember Gamescom doing something like this before. So, yeah, I mean they got like Jeff Keighley on, Sydney Goodman, our friend.
Shout out to Sydney.
Over at IGN
Nice.
Was there, giving away like awards for like best in show or whatever. But yeah, it was really cool. They were just showing off like PS4 launch games and Xbox launch games and stuff to look forward to in 2021. So
PS5.
PS5, yeah.
PS5. Yes.
So used to saying PS4.
I know, right?
It just slid out the tongue.
Yeah,
it works. I'm gonna take this opportunity again to grill our industry vet, because I just think that your perspective on these things are really valuable. E3. A lot of people have been talking about E3. Okay, they've kind of taken a step back on the peg. Will E3 ever come back? Is E3 going to be this giant thing? Well, what do you feel about it? Do you think that we're ever going to go back to these massive things and have E3 in that same sense of resonance?
Yeah, no matter what, I think E3 is here to stay. We might see a shift to online a little bit, like, E3 didn't happen when we saw all these companies do their online conference, and maybe they're all aligned and they're all going to try to do it at the same time. There's a reason why it's also all in the summer. They're getting ready for the Black Friday and Christmas sales, so that's when they announce a bunch of things. But we have seen in the last couple of years that gaming has completely evolved. So I'm not worried about E3. I'm worried about like how companies are doing their marketing now. So like if you look at Apex, Hyperscape, even Valorant, it kind of just happened. There was no like,
man.
They just like kind of launched it and said, hey, the beta starts tomorrow, have fun. Drops are on Twitch, and those were all multiplayer games. So is this going to transfer to single players? How are we going to feel these single players experience now that Twitch streamers can just kind of play for us? Like, how do you integrate that? So I think that there's definitely an involvement of the industry overall, and I do believe that anyway, these kind of conferences were saturated. Like, you go on these floors, like Gamescom especially. I don't know if you've been there before.
Massive.
It's incredibly difficult to walk there. It's so, you feel like claustrophobic. There's so much people and everyone stink.
And the worst part is, too, because every major event, especially Gamescom I've been to, I've been as an esports journalist, as media, right? I've done media stuff for like 10 years, and like not fancy work. This is boots on the ground, grunt work. This is you're the person that has to run over to the side of the convention center because you have an interview with a dev and you have 15 minutes, right? I will say that the virtual events, I have gotten so much more networking done. I actually get more information done. Like, I literally consume and watch more of the stuff that these PR people and these marketers want me to watch because I'm doing it from the comfort of my home. Like, it's so
might
much
see
better.
Like a shift is like a hybrid version where like maybe like fans, like either or, fans or industry don't have to go. Like either or, probably fans can do it from the comfort of their home, and then we'll go back to that literal smaller E3. There's, I feel that there's, like I said, there's gonna be some hybrid stuff where maybe you'll experience the game that the people from Ubisoft are over there, but you're at home. I don't know. There's definitely gonna be an evolution, and I'm looking forward to it because I didn't like the old format anyway.
No, I definitely feel like now that these events have had their hand forced, you know, to experiment with these, I think we're definitely going to see these hybrid events because I think without the live kind of factor, a lot of these events just can't succeed. You see how like Comic-Con performed this year with like people showing up for panels on YouTube and stuff, and the viewership was just so low compared to like,
because those things are about community. You know,
Yeah,
so much
exactly.
of those events are about community, and I think just a distinction between the difference between these like events that are for marketing and one for community. I love to see more hybrid events, and you know what? Actually, first of all, wow, you've been such a great guest. I can't believe an hour has already passed so quick,
damn.
right?
Yeah.
But speaking of events and conferences, I want to shout out to our next event. So, you guys are familiar. Inven Global puts on all sorts of events for esports and networking. And our next event is IGEAS, the Inven Global Esports and Academic Summit. This is happening September 17th to September 18th. If you want a job in esports, if you want to meet people in esports, if you want to network, especially when it comes to collegiate esports, here is the place to do it. We're also partnering with the Harrisburg Invitational, a 60-team tournament of League of Legends and Overwatch. The best esports schools in the U.S. are going to be there competing. It's going to be a huge, huge invitational. You can check it out at invenglobal.com/iGuess. And I actually hope maybe we can work together in some regard, Steph, because you've just been an absolute fantastic guest here, and I know you have all sorts of more insights and information maybe you can pass on to our guests at the event. So check out iGuess. And with that said, I mean, I just have to say thank you so much for being a part of our podcast, Stephanie. It's over. It's a wrap. Episode 30.
It's too fast.
I know, right?
It's
we here we are. We talked for an hour. It was great. Where can people find you? Where can people find your work? What are some things that our readership or our audience should know? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, I try to post everything at least on Twitter and Instagram. Like IGS is I love it. It's really easy for me to do those. And as well as I do a lot at CLG. So we just closed their summer camps, and it was amazing. So we'll release a video soon about it. I also have a engine series that's about health and wellness that we release a video every week on CLG for that. And so there's a lot of initiatives like that. So make sure to follow me at missharvey everywhere.
Nice. Health and wellness. You need to stretch your hands too. If you're gaming for prolonged periods, you
important.
got to stretch them. I've been doing that. It really helps. You can follow me at Nick Durazio 3RD. You can always just go to invenglobal.com. Oh, whoa. What is that? Is that like a ball? Oh, that's so good. Helps your fingers.
So you gotta, usually like these fingers are really weak. So like this is really strong. But you gotta keep working them out individually, especially when you like your mouse hands and keep.
What is that?
I got
what is that device?
Neck weights.
Oh my God! You guys both, you guys are both professional gamers. I'm sitting here with, oh God, I don't have anything. I gotta get on my.
I have a lot of things.
My finger game.
Just
Work your hands. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have rubber bands like I put under my feet that I can do this while gaming.
Nice.
The ball for my wrist here, like a lot of things.
That's good. Well, you know what? Now that you're not traveling to events, right? You're in your time chamber. You're just getting more powerful.
Yeah.
You're just training and training every single part of you.
That would have been the time to be a pro gamer. I'm always home.
Yeah. So you can also find my co-host Eric at Winco Stainless. You can find everything we do at invenglobal.com. You can check us out on Twitter also at Inven Global. This has been episode 30 of the Inven Global Podcast. Thank you so much at Miss Harvey. Follow her. Thank you so much. This has been Nick Durazio. I will talk to you guys next week for more Inven Global Podcast. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.